First of all, just wanted to say thank you all for being here. And I love all of you guys, and thank y'all for never getting annoyed about my nonstop Facebook posts about my baby girl. Also, I want everyone to know that my backbone, besides Jesus, is my wife and wonderful kids, Vivian, CJ, and Alyssa. So give them a round of applause because they hold me up all the time. And then also my family, which I consider all of you all, because any of my friends or family have held me up so much as well, setting up stuff like this, all the prayers, crazy things some have done for me while Olivia was ill, will never be forgotten, because as I always say, if you did for her, you did for me. And I don't ever forget those things. And then now I just want to read a few facts about Dipg, which is the really reason we're here, to bring that to light and to understand about this deadly disease and how we can help other people who have to go through the same type of trial. So first of all, by a show of hands, who before they knew about Olivia heard about Dipg before Olivia? Okay, good, because our hands wouldn't go up either. Because it's something that really doesn't come to light until it either affects your own family or it affects somebody you know, somebody you're close to. And the reason for that is because with only approximately 300 diagnosed per year, it's kind of like we drew the black bean, the short straw, but I think it wasn't for any other reason except to show perseverance, resilience, faith no matter what. So a few quick facts about Dipg, since all of us in here didn't raise our hand and nobody really knew about it until Olivia. It's a rare brain tumor, as we know, and it's located in the bottom part of the brainstem, so the part of your spinal cord that connects to your lower brain. And so the tumor goes in there, and it intertwines inside of all the tissue in there, and it affects kids mainly 5 to 10 years old. Sometimes adults, which is more rare, but 5 to 10 is the average age that it will affect a child. No known causes per scientists at this point. And then Dipg alone, out of all the brain tumors that are diagnosed, are only about 10% of all brain tumors, and there's so many brain tumors diagnosed, but the majority of those can be helped with either removal, radiation plus chemo. Dipg is unique in that way, in that where it's located, you really can't get to it unless you could break through the blood-brain barrier. And so in the past 30 years, there's been little progress, including with Neil Armstrong's daughter passing away from Dipg at 2 years old. In the last 30 years, there's been little done except for 4% from the government for all cancer research funds only go to Dipg, where in my opinion, talking to the doctors, they didn't say yes or no, but I just assume because if you're the government and you're looking at using funds, you're probably thinking it's okay to lose maybe 300 lives, except, you know, we don't want to lose 100,000 lives. And that's just my opinion. The doctor just nodded his head like, okay, I can't confirm nor deny that, but that's a great scientific assumption and observation that you made. Last fact as far as about Dipg, less than 1% of children will go past a year once diagnosed. Olivia was a very unique case, being an incidental finding. She's only one of 2 that I've ever heard of. The other one was a child in a car accident that they did a CAT scan, MRI to check for brain damage, hemorrhaging. But most kids won't go past a year. On average, it's 9 months until their symptoms start coming and moving pretty quickly. As far as symptoms are concerned, because of the location of the brainstem, where it's located inside the spinal cord, where you can't operate or cut into it, because in effect you paralyze a child, but ironically that's kind of what happens anyway. But Dipg, as it grows, that tumor that's like a marble that gets bigger, a bigger marble inside of your spinal cord, starts causing pressure on the cranial nerves from the pons, which is that area, as it grows. And the nerves that it pushes on, depending on how it grows, controls muscles that control eye movement, face movement, ability to chew, swallow, breathe, heart rate, all these things. And a lot of these symptoms, which when Olivia first had her very first symptom, was a little bit of double vision. A lot of kids aren't as fortunate, and they will wake up with these symptoms that I'm listing. But double vision, eye starts drooping, eyelid movement, facial expression, difficulty chewing and swallowing. Eventually you'll need food thickener for the child because they'll choke on even regular liquid. Pressure on the nerves cause weakness in limbs. Eventually the child, if the tumor is growing rapidly, will lose the difficulty to speak and to walk after it starts as a slow process of less speech and limping instead of walking. And so those are symptoms. And then to get to the last part here, so the only known ways right now due to funding to treat DIPG, besides unwavering faith, the one thing you could do medically in the natural, and the only thing, is radiation therapy and chemotherapy clinical trials. None of them have proved effective long-term. 75% of the patients will show a quick improvement once the tumor shrinks during the honeymoon period, but usually within 6 to 9 months it comes back even more aggressive. Again, Olivia went through radiation and chemo like a champ because she was asymptomatic through the whole thing, and so she went through like a champ. But as it states from dipg.org, unfortunately this particular cancer almost always grows back after a few months, and when it grows back it's more aggressive than before. And an MRI is currently the only way to diagnose this, because a biopsy, for those hospitals that do that, you can only get such a very small sample of it without paralyzing, again, the child, because you can't really go into it that much, so you can take a very thin. And again, the very last part of progression is the part that is more hard to swallow for somebody who's never dealt with that, but we have. So, and we were fortunate that it played out a different way than it does for most people. I mean, God truly orchestrated even the passing of Olivia. But what usually happens is after that child starts having severe progression, after progression starts, usually the child will only live 5 months on average from progression, which sounds about right in the natural. And then so what happens at that point, parents usually will, besides prayers, will go to different routes, check if they're eligible for other clinical trials, homeopathic, you name it, everything they can do to help their child. But unfortunately, in the last stages, I would say like maybe the last week or so, the child's body knows, that they're deteriorating. They will start slowing down on their eating. They'll want to sleep more because their body, in essence, knows that it's dying. And the worst part about DIPG, as I've said to many of y'all in person, is unlike Alzheimer's or muscular dystrophy, where it takes your whole body slowly, DIPG is cruel because it leaves your mind fully intact. So it basically would put your child in a paralytic state, knowing everything that's going on. If you have a rambunctious child like Olivia was, they'll want to play, but they're like being tortured because they're just paralyzed, looking at the world around them going on. But again, even seeing all that, we still thought it was a temporary bump in the road, still had unwavering faith, still never claimed any kind of death or decease upon her. That's why everything was hard to plan, funeral services, celebration services, burial, because it was never in the books and in our books. We unwavered the whole way, but just keep that in mind next time you do run across a DIPG article or something on Facebook, because we have Facebook friends that have DIPG kids currently. I know what they feel. The only difference is that they're saying things that I wouldn't say, so I try to kind of help them along by just not speaking life into that. That way, as I've told many of y'all, at the end of the day, me, Vivian, my kids can go to bed at night knowing that we didn't have anything to do with that outcome, but that God's will truly prevailed, because we never spoke against the faith that we still stand on to this day, because that faith is what gets us through and what even is keeping us alive right now at this moment. And Olivia's down smiling now, and she's gonna watch the movie with us, and she sees all you guys. And so before we start the movie, just a quick word from Olivia, and then we'll get started, guys. Thank y'all so much. Love all you guys.